Guys for being a little bit late. I have a party that we're hosting at my house today, and it starts sometime around 12 or 1 o'clock. So I had some stuff I was doing, but I really wanted to do this live for about an hour. Hopefully, we can touch base on every point we need to hit. I want to have a time filled with positivity over. Oh, look at that! I got an alert on Julie's tablet. That's a good sign this morning. The positivity over negativity. Helpful, not hurtful in the comments. We are a group of winners, not victims. And it's important on days like today because we had to push up. And now we need to understand what exactly this pattern means. If you're part of the Telegram, last night I put down right before XDC started moving. And this is, to me, part of the importance of being in the Telegram, whether you're watching this now or later. And if you have a reason to join Tom's Army, maybe you want to be a part of something more, but we'll talk about XDC in a second. But XRP needs to get over $1.94. That's the first layer. Otherwise, it's going to end up faltering down back after this thinly traded push up. We need XDC if it wanted to continue this run. It's basically made the move we talked about yesterday. There's no 100% way to say if we can hold the breakout or not, but now we need to hold the 4998. Last night it was down here. It had this consolidation at 473. I talked about the immediate move up to 482. And then if it held that, we were able to cook up to the top of this little formation. And I talked about a 6 to 7% gap. And that filled out. So now we need to see in the crypto market if we can hold these layers of resistance that we've hit, back test the support we've now trying to breach, and then start pushing out into the next layer. So we will see how we hold or how we maintain this pattern structure. It's going to be a very tricky, thinly traded weekend. The good news is it's very easy to see what XRP needs to do. First layer we broke out here. We got back above this very gritty area. Was able to hold, pushed up. So now $1.88 you could say is like your underneath area. If you fall below that, you're back into the very bearish consolidation. And then over the top, if you want to look at, well, what do we need to do now? Well, we got over this immediate area. So the first support is 192. If we don't want to fall back. And then it would be around that 189 area. So we got through this little resistance. And then it's just a matter of working our way through now. Actually, it was 194. Now I think we're above that area because it was downsloping. If I'm being honest, I think we actually might be above it now because it's a downsloping. And now that I move this, when it was over here, it was 195. Over here on Thursday, it was 194. Now, yeah, it's sloped down here. It's actually 192. So we're looking to hold $1.92 to try to confirm some time of micro breakout and validate what looks like a gigantic W if it were to hold out. I've been very transparent about the fact, yes, we can go to $1.57. Is it a guarantee? It is not. But that would be the next agenda down. But as we've tried to stay very, very clear, that $1.77 down here very well could be a support floor. That's why we targeted at the $1.77. And unless that breaks, we don't even talk about $1.57. Because to me, it would allow at least for a bullish or a bearish retest of that $2 zone if we were reversing this. And ultimately, it's still in a megaphone until it's not. It's still in my opinion, a bullish megaphone until it's not. And then if it breaks down, we can continue to talk about the breakdown. But I don't like to skip areas before we actually have to get there. So we've done a lot of things that allow us to get out of the micro bearish, the very bottom part of this bearish formation. But now we're, like I've said yesterday, and if you're new, you wouldn't have heard me say this, but we're coming up to the resistance taps right now. First area to clear and hold now in real time was 192 as it slopes down. It was 194 late Thursday into early Friday, and we've gotten above that. Well, the first area to break past was this very annoying downtrending hot pink line, which we got above at $1.886, and we're above right now. But now we need to hold $1.92 to allow this to continue to push up in a very, very, very fashionable way. But we still haven't done anything yet to invalidate further movement down. So as much as we want to be optimistic, As much as we want to, you know, push the pattern up before it has to be pushed up, we need to do these by the levels. And really, we don't want volatility more than what we're seeing right now. Up 4 or 5%, back test 2%. Up 6%, come back down 3%, break out the last high before it made a new high, and then it back tested as a new low, the prior high. This is what we want to see in a micro movement, but there's not a lot of volume. That's very clear right now that we're not getting a huge push of volume, which to me is a little disturbing still. Nothing's changed in my mind. Was there an opportunity? There's a small opportunity that developed. And what I was targeting, as I said on the channel, I was targeting XDC. It was a little bit behind on this prior move. On this move that just happened on late Saturday, or Friday night into early Saturday morning. So it was a little bit behind. So now we get to see with XRP, with some of these other ones, they didn't correct very much, which gives me hope right now for XDC if XRP was able to maintain. Now, we're also going to be able to see a fundamental flow here if it doesn't end up holding. And we'll be able to be like, okay, well, another one to look at is Epic. Epic got out in front. Epic's still holding the 60-cent mark, believe it or not. And it looks like it could have outran the market. So now we need to see, is this starting another aggressive push up? Or are we just trying to come and reject here? These are the ones that are telling us right now. These are the early traders. It got back over the 200. So we got to see the early movers. So we'll see how another one was SHX. Yesterday had a volatile swing. Now it's down 5.4%. That's not bad. That's exactly what you want it to do. It came up to the 838 resistance. And now it's going to back test and see if the 20-day can hold in the 4-hourly. 2-hourly, it's built itself a nice little consolidation to see if we can hold a golden cross. Right now it's come below. It's a looming golden cross. So sometimes, even if it's going to hold it, back test this 50 through the 100 as well. So we'll see. These are very, very micro aggressive moves, but I also see a divergence in the hourly that was starting to transpire here in the very recent movement, but it's not really it's not a big divergence as of yet. But if this price action breaks bullish and this maintains like this, you could have a bullish divergence with stochastic clearing in the smaller time frames and the price action continuing to go up. That would actually be a good thing if this happens. If we got that big clear out with this price appreciation. So basically the RSI cleared out from being all the way up here at 8.5 down to here. That could be a bullish divergence here if this continues. These are let's trick the market into thinking we're super bearish, and on the emphasis or on the essence, we're actually flipping bullish right beneath everybody's noses. Remember what I talked about a couple weeks ago and months ago? The week of my birthday, we talked about after my birthday, and then we hit the low, whether it's on my birthday, it ended up being on the day of the Bank of Japan. But once we hit that level, the 1 week bull run, the 1 week move into Christmas, basically, I think this could be what's happening right now as we right in real time. And I've talked about how I didn't want to buy 150,000 different things now. So I stuck to one thing. Instead of buying this, that, this, that, this, and that, this, and that, XDC, I thought I had it figured out very nicely. I've been watching it for a long time. I bought it when it back tested this move, wrote it up here, holding it, but instead of buying X amount of algo and X amount of this and X amount of that and X amount of this and X amount of that, I stuck to this one, and it wasn't for the faint of heart because I wanted to test Kraken's limits and see exactly what kind of fee we were looking at with a large purchase. And I got my answer. And to be honest with you, I was very pleased. So, and I'm only going to say this once. I didn't diversify anything. I wanted to see a straight buy on this in real time and see what Kraken would charge me. And it was to the tune to, and I don't want to say it really, but it's over 900,000 tokens. And that's a $2,000-$3,000 move on what we've seen today. But the fee on Kraken for 900,000 tokens, and I'm not even joking, and it filled it at the exact price it was at. It actually did it below my limit order. It was $82. I had an $82 buy fee. And then I can even tell you what the sell fee is, because when you try to do a sell, it'll tell you what your sell fee would be. So, and I'll put it a little bit lower just to see what it would say. So the estimated trading fee on a sell here would be 1,804 XDC. So that's why I want to see in real time, you know, exactly what they're going to charge. What did I say? 1,000. So that's a hefty fee. Times 0.0, we'll say 5. So it's actually not bad. $89 in, $90 out. To make, if I were to sell it, it would have been a plus 2,600 roughly right now. I'm not selling it. I'm just saying, for purposes, this is a big case study for me with Kraken to see exactly if there's any viability with larger trading. So, at once. So that was a very big thing for me to see that it filled like that, and the fact it's gonna. But you have to be in Kraken Pro for that to happen. There's a link in the video description below under pinned comments. Sorry, 20% of the audience left when I'm trying to show you good fundamentals, but you know, can't please everybody. Good morning, 10:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, December 20th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So if you're in the Telegram, simply talked about XDC before the move up last night. I said, watch XDC, looks ready for a 6 to 7% gap up style move. It plays true. We will know more shortly after this plus 1.36% move to about 0.0482, and that's when it made that move up about 20 minutes later. And I just told everybody I own XDC and not buying 5 different things this time. And then that was the move, and now we need to hold that back test because it already made the move up. It made that gap up of about 7%, 6.5%. Now we need to see in real time. Is this just going to give it back? Is the market about to roll over here this morning? So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen here. I mean, right now, the market's not showing really any great steam. But it's I just want to see what happens here, but I also am trying to figure out the trading fee schedule when it gets into moments like this. So am I convinced that we're just going to go straight up? Not even close. Not even close. So we'll see though if we form something. The other reason I like XDC versus XRP in this exact moment is it's so undervalued versus XRP. And it makes me think that we're getting ready for a huge parabolic spike out. It's setting up what looks like a bottoming formation versus XRP. And it bottomed in October. And now we're up to the 200-day. But who knows? This could be the start of a continuation to a further consolidation as well. It's gotten to a point now versus XRP where, I mean, the monthly, it's hard pressed for me to ever find it that far consolidated and oversold for this long in the monthly. It's pretty insane. It's a pretty clear monthly reversal there too, if it can hold the structure for the next 11 days. It's been a perfectly reversible structure, so we'll just see what happens here. The only thing that's hard to tell is how far do we still go down. I'm not convinced that we don't continue going down. We haven't got any fundamental we haven't got anything that suggests that this is over. The one good thing right now, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of positivity, is we're over this line at 87,441. Looks like it could be a bottoming formation, but it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. But if it's not a duck, it doesn't matter the imitator, it's still not a duck. So we need to see if this is a bullish overtaker, if this is a fake out to get us excited and then just drop the hammer. The one thing I will say that gives me a little bit of comfort, which isn't a lot, if I'm being honest, The fear and greed index right now, when it made the drop, it barely moved. It's still an extreme fear. That should have been a moment when we bottomed out at $1.77 in areas like that where some people should have found greed. And I was very clear. I said, it's not that I'm not buying here. It's that my target is XDC and I'm waiting for it to retake this small area. And I said, once it back tested that little setup on the move back up in the small time frame, I was going to buy it. And that's exactly what I did on the support structure. Came back up 1.5%, back tested it. And then I bought it for the rally up for about 6%. But that doesn't mean it's going to hold. That just means I wanted to buy support and see how it reacts at resistance. Even if it only ends up being a 4% move, and it is what it is. I'm not looking to keep buying and selling, but at this exact moment, there are opportunities. And believe it or not, a 4% move, even if that's what it ends up selling out at, or 3.5%, that's still like $1,000. So as the portfolio builds, there's ways to circumvent, but you have to buy support and sell resistance if that's your plan. You can't just buy it at resistance and expect it to pay off. There's so much trash here right now, too. We've got so much dead leverage. There's just so much stuff that makes me a little uncomfortable here still. I'm not sugarcoating it. That's why I'm interested in that 499 area for XDC. I'm interested to see how XRP consolidates today. It's even lower than 499. Just because it hits 499 doesn't mean I'm just going to run away. It just means that if this were to give away, I've got flexibility all the way down into this area. But once it comes down, in my opinion, if it proves that it can't hold the 20-day and the daily, there's really no interest. There's really no reason. Because then it's just going to float back down here. But if it can hold anywhere in this area up here, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Oh, you better believe I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm not buying just to sell it, but I'm not going to hold it back through on a bigger, correction down. So basically, it would give me about a 3.5, 3.6% profit margin at 483. I would probably do it at 48 because I want to see if this 20-day push through in the smaller time frames would hold. But I don't care if it's 3%. I don't care if it's 2% after the sell and all the fees are paid. As long as the portfolio is going up and I'm trying to stay interlocked with this pattern, that's why I can't be in 100 things right now. I'm trying to stay focused on that for that kind of a strategy, but I don't want to leverage trade either. So instead of putting $500 at a 10x, I would rather play the spot market at higher levels and focus on one particular asset. That's just where my mindset is right now. Because I think it's too volatile. And I think a lot of times a good message would be, check out my message about that bill. Lonzo, thanks for the $2 super chat. Where was that bill? Let's see, Lonzo. Lonzo says he's doubling down on SHX. That's not a bad one. I do really like SHX. My plan is if XDC could give me some viability, if it was up 6,000, 7,000, I'd start selling off small parts of it so that I could buy into other. That's my plan. If XDC plays this, if it were to hold this support structure and break out, I would have the ability to get rid of 400,000 or 500,000 and keep 500,000 of them and be able to navigate my way through if that's what I decided. But I don't know. I really don't know. How I would play it. But where is this comment? Lonzo. I know I seen your comment, Lonzo. You said my previous comment about that bill. Lonzo, what was the one about the bill? I'm trading SHX on Lobster. Well, it really doesn't have much fees at all. Said I'm doubling down on SHX. Must have missed another one farther up somewhere. Unless it's not showing me the higher comments. I might not be able... Let's see. No, it looks like everything. Dan, thanks for being in town during 3+ months with the XP Media along with My Yard Now. Lori, welcome in, love. Glad to see you in here as always. You have a beautiful day as well. Really appreciate that. Merry time, welcome. And XRP is going to $1.57, then on down to $1.20 and under $1, and we will never hear about XRP again. That's just blasphemy. 1970 Legend, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Very trusted mod in here, and just waiting for the Buckeyes next week for their impending move to try to get into the semifinals. Yeah, they're down to the final 8, so they win one game, and they're one game away from winning a title again. So good luck there, 1970 legend. Glad to see you in here. Proud to have you in here as well. John Bugathorpe, good welcome, my friend. Alpha, good morning. Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Define says, hey, everyone, hit the like on the way in. Consider subscribing and joining Tom's Army for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Every day you are not in the Telegram, you're missing out. Why wait? And Define, sorry I didn't write out my message to you, and I had like a 7-minute audio I sent you yesterday. I was just in the middle of a couple of things. But I appreciate the fact that you were willing to listen to that and then break down what I was saying. And thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor, and also a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. And Dan, I'm so very blessed and happy this Saturday as we give thanks to our Lord and Savior, Yahweh, Yeshua, God himself on the most holiest day here. I'm glad you got your power back. That was a scary situation, but I'm glad to see and know that you have your power back on. Like, that's a big step. Big step. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. Cannabis Podcast, thanks for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Says hit that like button. Yeah, we got about 50% hitting the like button this morning. Not terrible. I'm so happy to see over 100 people still tuning in, even with the volatility, even on a Saturday morning. Make sure to watch the Cannabis Podcast. He's getting closer to 600 subscribers now. He smashed through the 500, which is a very big level, as he's getting through that guiding section to 1,000 subscribers, where some doors open up with the availability for them to advertise his channel. So please, if you're considering, if you like herbal remedies, if you appreciate cannabis and the medical side of it, not the, oh, I'm going to get stoned, but you like the rest of it, as well as, getting a nice head relief, so to say, and relax. If you enjoy the plant, go watch Cannabis Podcast. He does it in a very professional way. He's got people on that are very educated like he is, and I think why not support the community, especially in other ventures, especially with the reclassification and scheduling of cannabis, the new tax laws, the changes in the laws, also the new changes with the with the cannabis seeds and the federal regulation they're going to put on it if it's over 0.3%. You can learn all about that with the Cannabis Podcast, far more than I could even teach you. So give them a shot. Rob Clement, welcome in. 2 Ravens, good morning, and thanks for being in Towns Army for over 2 years with the XP589 Moon Badge, along with Mosey here. Welcome in, my friends. Thank you both so much. Let's see. Arichi, welcome in, and thanks for being in Towns Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor, along with Dirty Train Rider. At least I'm a corporal in Tom's Army. Yeah, Dirty Train, there you go. Mr. Stott, welcome in. I hope Mr. Stott is doing good as well this morning. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Just trying to catch up on these comments real quick. I like saying hi to all my friends that join in. Tampa, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, and that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. Big Dog, Crypto Plumber, thank you both for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor. CJ2 Pilot for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Hope Botanicals, thanks for continuing in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News. Totally awesome. Good morning at 125,000 XDC. Living in style. Mrs. Stott, there she is. I'm glad to see you're in here as well, Mrs. Stott. Good morning to you. Let's see, who else? Silver Days, good morning. Maple Man, thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. I really appreciate that, and hope your daughter's doing well today as well. And nobody believes that you're 49 still. We've had comments, and they think you're fluffing everybody, so well done on the aging front, I suppose, right? I tried to say she was 29, and then she outed herself. Totally awesome. Tom, did you see Canton Network made a 40% move? I did not see it. Canto or Canton? I did not see that, no, but that's good to see some of the... we're starting to see some minor movement from below. So maybe, just maybe, we get this week-long push here. Juan Carlos, good morning. Tanya says, Tom, thinking on buying AMP. Ooh, I'm going to have to look at that. I haven't looked at AMP in a while, but it's definitely been on my mind. AMP's been on my mind. Watching Band and a couple others, but I have a little strategy that it's either going to pay off handsomely or I'm going to look like the biggest idiot of all times. Oh, yeah. Okay. If we're going to have some kind of movement up, I mean, that's an interesting setup here. Daily's rotating. 4 hourly's a little overbought, but in the 4 hourly, that is neither here nor there. It can dump out real quick, retest, come back. Basically, Tanya, I mean, you're in an action moment. If it can hold this 20-day on the push up, you got a nice W reversal. Looks like a little flag setup that could get us right up here, push up towards the... Man, that's been pushing down so much. You know what's ironic? It pushed down my technical drop target. That's why I'm so intrigued here. I had to drop down to 00246. Get rid of this because that's not what... See this little drop? We didn't know where it was going to break down, but the target was from over here. It took longer, though. Much longer. And that had it down at 237. So the fact that it even dumped down farther, that is very interesting, the way that this set up. I need to reset up this pattern. This looks like ass. Let me get a different chart. I want one that's fresh, so I can reset this up for everybody. Ah, crap. Stupid trading view. Reset my app. Okay. That sounds good. Ooh, I can live with that chart. Which one was that? I like that one. That had a long history. 4 point... What the hell? That's not right. If it was at $1.22... Could you imagine if AMP was at $1.22? For fuck's sake. Need one that's empty and not some bullshit like it just showed last time. There we go. That'll work. There, that's better. Clear double top. What? Julie, did you say something? This should be an interesting one to try to figure out. We got to try to find some level support here, too, as it comes across. Although it does seem like the only level of support we're getting is like this. Tanya, I'm not saying to be careful. I'm saying to be careful here. Because we need to make sure that it retakes. Because if it's in some kind of bearish setting like that, even though it stayed within the structure, we need to make sure that it's not breaking it down. Which right now, it's kind of at that, like I said, like you picked an action moment. Then we need to see if we can extend across. So is this an extension to where maybe that's where the X meets, so it starts to build a new uptrend as it consolidates down on support? One could make that argument because the resistance over the top, you've only had 2 hits. Like, this is a very intriguing setup, not just for AMP, but across the market. Because if we're hitting the bottoms, or if we're close to the bottom within the 10% range, from where we've already... I mean, this is a way you can look at it and be like, are we below the crossing point? Or are we just re-extending and this actual wick down is where it actually starts and we're in the in-between right now from the restart of a move up? Or is this just validating a further move down? That's where we're at in almost the entire market. And unfortunately for AMP, or fortunately, I guess, depending on how you look at it, it hasn't even started any kind of structural return. So if we take this down into the 4 hourly, overbought. We're in between this bounce here. So you're basically in between. Can we get back into a bullish style move, which would culminate with us having to get back above... What the hell is it doing? Right there, 191. Before, and this is how tight it is. It's pretty insane. Before we start to push back down through, and this can actually be farther down because we're using it at the bottom of this wick. Don't be confused. Let me get this. Don't be confused here. Remember, it has to be the bottom of the wick. Okay. Okay. So now let's get it back in the 4 hourly, see if it's in the right spot. Oh, it's finicky. You can't fuck this up. Oh, sorry. You can't mess this up. Otherwise, it invalidates what we're looking at. And look, I can't even set it up properly because it won't properly align the way I want it. Now let's see back here. See? Because we need to get that angle proper. If the angle's not proper, what the hell's the point? Okay, so X marks the spot is right there. So we can't afford to lose 174, but it's telling us that's a key. It's key. This is a key area. This is key. And we need to make sure that that maintains. We get back over and we ultimately take out that level. Now, it could take a second, but I don't think we're waiting that long until March to make this decision. I think we're in an action moment. It's going to tell us one way or the other. That's a great way to look at that, Tanya. So if you're looking to play this, I would look at it just that simple. You're within such a tight range that you could have a stop loss or something if it was going to dump out. It's down about 4.4%, and you got to break up about 4% to get over the top. So, I mean, you're dead middle. It's dead middle of this consolidation. Connie says 49 Tom or 49 Ti honestly am. You look great. Spectacular. Mwah. Hey, I think I'm on the good aging front as well. I just turned 42 on Wednesday, and I think I'm aging very well as well. Not to toot my own horn, but it must be that Italian and Lebanese, but then also getting fit the last 3 years definitely helped. I think my hair helps too. The longer I keep my hair with this kind of a hairline, now that I'm 42, I think that definitely helps. Because if I came on here and I had no hair, I think it would be different. I think I might not look as young. Let's see. Axelar is definitely a great one to look at. Axelar is so undervalued right now. I'm definitely intrigued. I'm not going to lie. This is the other one I talked about after that drop. That could be a very opportunistic one because that monthly so oversold. We just don't know if it's coming all the way back down here. But this is definitely one that's on my mind. Especially if it were to break down again here. It's the Lebanese in me. It very well could be. It very well could be. Swift is liking Axelar. There's been a lot of... Honestly, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk with how cheap it is. You know, I'm highly considering, instead of rebuying 10K, I'm considering making a larger purchase and letting it sit. I would probably just send it to crypto.com to store it because they at least let you store it there. But yeah, Axelar, with their low circulating supply, is definitely one that is on my mind. Big time. No joke. Axelar, and there's a lot of stuff with Ripple and them partnering in certain things and yada, yada, yada. We don't want to delegate into some nonsense when we... But there's a lot of stuff going on there, and it doesn't have a large token circulating supply, which is also a big thing. What's the total and stuff doing? Others is up 0.6%. Total 3 is up 0.1%. And the total crypto market cap is flat. Bitcoin's down about 70 bucks. XRP's floundering a little bit. XDC's down under that 5 cents. So I'd be very careful here. You know, I wouldn't be delegating too much here. I would just... Because this is where the decision has to come in. Hey, you buy support, sell resistance until it tells you otherwise. Right? So you're not buying up here. You're definitely not buying up here. Came up to the 200-day like it should have. Now you're starting to see if this can consolidate and hold in any way. But it's going to take a prior, it's going to be a prior, it's going to take more help from across the market for these to hold. I'm just telling you right now. Like, this is going to take more than just one particular token to hold. Like, it's going to need Bitcoin to continue railing. It's going to have to, like, we're fundamentally set up with Bitcoin. Now, the one good thing about this is, I will say this, after a big bottoming out like that, it's almost unusual not to come up to the 200-day. And there's a lot of liquidity up there as well. So it would almost be unusual not to come up there. Not saying it has to come up there. I'm just saying it would be unusual not to retest at 92K roughly on Bitcoin. Especially with all these expiring things that happened on Friday. There's a lot building below as well in the monthly. So there's that to be said. But because we could very well come back down here first. And that's the thing, like, it doesn't have to come up here first, but there's a lot of liquidity up in that area. But there's also pockets developing down here. So it's kind of weird. Swift chose Linea, Axelar, and Chainlink. And if you're talking about for volatility purposes, for Swift, I mean, yeah. No, that's not your opinion. I definitely been hearing a lot more about Axelar, which kind of makes sense for these big dump-offs. ADFW Abu Dhabi global market position Abu Dhabi as a global center for digital asset innovation, attracting institutions overseeing $42 trillion plus in assets for XDC. That's big. Big stuff. Big stuff. But yeah, no, Axelar definitely should be on everybody's radar, especially sub 10 cents right now. 4-hourly Bitcoin was down to 87,800. Is this going to form some kind of bullish candle here by the end of it? We don't know. It looks like it's trying to, there's definitely something interesting going on here. Thinly traded weekend. So, but if you're looking for price point deals and steals with what's happening, Axelar more so than Chainlink is a steal where it is at price wise. Because Chainlink is still pretty high up there in this particular cycle. Even though we're back in a very big bear market. Garbanzo, welcome in and thanks for being in town. 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Great, Paul, good morning. Totally awesome. Thanks for that info about XDC and ADFW. As far as the global market's concerned. Juan Carlos, good morning, my friend. So, intriguing times, guys. Intriguing times. And is this some kind of a front run of the market? Like, did Epic get out ahead and actually push the 400 or the 200-day and it's out ahead up 30%? It very well could be. I'm not going to tell you to buy this yet until it gives some kind of... It is on a little bit of an inverse pattern if it holds, but that weekly and that monthly is unbelievably oversold, especially the monthly. I don't even remember the last time I ever seen Axelar that oversold. I don't think we ever have. It came out of the gate so hot. But these are just on the wrong exchange. Like, I could get a different exchange where Axelar has a further history. Chose Axelar over STX. Sure did. Sure did. My Yard Now, thanks for being in town. 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Says XYO is my favorite. That's my single favorite data oracle. But it needs to be a rotational buy when it's... God, that's another one that secretly I keep watching. Because that's my favorite oracle one. Because it's a smaller one compared to like Band and some other ones. As far as size. But it's got to be at the right price. There's a reason why when I dumped it out, it had to first come to this uptrend before I was interested. It hasn't got here yet. It almost got here. But I really wanted to see because it started the expansion here. So I figured if it held the uptrend at 00379-ish, could be a good buy. But until it got there, I had to be very patient. Does it actually get all the way there? It might not because it's starting to rotate. But that's where the third tap on that expansion out would be. That's why I've been waiting for XYO without really talking about it much. FYI, for anybody wondering. We talked about band. And it's below this area, so it needs to get back above 37. Could that be a quick trade back up? It could. It got back above this little support structure to start this possible move back up to retest the drop point, and that's around 37.6. Linea's at 00657. That's right where it needs to act to see if we can get back into this consolidation area. And then if you do, you push back up, possibly back up to that area. That's a 30% move on its own. But there's not a lot of volume, so you need to get back over 662 to start making a move. It's almost there, but everything's really pushed back up to that support resistance move. 150 trillion moved yearly by Swift. Linea will moon one day. Yeah, oh, it will. Linea, now that we know what we know, I thought Axelar was going to have a big move regardless, but now that it was chosen by Swift as well, and then Chainlink, obviously, being used as well. So, Axelar is a big, big one. It's a big one down the road. I think anybody who bought it sub 10 cents, one day they're going to look at Axelar and be like, holy crap, what a steal. Now, when is that day when you're going to be able to say that? That's the question nobody knows. But it's definitely, with what's happening, it's been on a very big downward spiral lately. After the rejection point here, it was a very clear sell signal until it figured it out on the consolidation. It's fallen better than 45% from that rejection, and that rejection just happened December 12th. So in the last 8 days, it's down 40+%. That's a huge drop. So now if we want to look at some kind of consolidation or some kind of setup possibly setting up, because we're going to have to try to figure this out. That's what I mean. Like, are we starting to finally show some kind of bottoming structure here? Even if it continues coming down, is it finally starting to show some kind of consolidation bottoming? Well, I don't know. I'm asking you guys. Because we've been in the same complex downtrending support for a long time. Then even the over-the-top move is starting to narrow. So I don't know. I don't know. If you had to buy in Filecoin, what would be your buy spot? Crypto Cruder, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And thanks for being in Tom's Army. Not only Tom's Army, but also a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Thank you for the $5.89 super chat as well. Yeah, this market, totally awesome. If these don't hold, we very well could go much, much lower. That's the caveat that we keep talking about. So that's what we're trying to decide in real time. We're really trying to decide this in real time. That's why I have a very fine-tuned fundamental approach in these times. Or you don't think the market goes much lower. I gotcha. No, yeah. I'm not convinced it goes much lower either. I just know there's the possibility. But until it breaks down, like I said, for me, XRP is still bullish until it proves me that bullish megaphone's invalidated. And to me, I talked about that drop down to $1.77 for weeks, if not months, and it hit it perfectly. So we need to see this retrace back up, which hasn't quite finished yet. Filecoin, where would I buy? Haven't looked at Filecoin in a minute. See, Filecoin definitely looks like it's having some kind of bullish reversal. If it can hold, that's the first legs. Big bottoming pattern off to a V with even a W look. Back up here. Now it looks like everything wants to push back up towards the 200 day. Is this... That's file G though. That doesn't seem right. I guess it doesn't matter because it's a similar price anyhow. Well, I guess that works. Fuck. They're all so difficult for me to just say, oh, I would buy here or there. It's almost like a feel. Because in the recent consolidation, just like we showed for Axelar, a lot of these look like this. So these are either first parts of these reversals, and Epic is out in front with that 30+% reversal up, and these are starting to finally do the same things. Because from the 4-hour approach, this is holding pretty solid right now, and that would indicate a move back up to retest at $1.50. So anything on this support structure until it were to break would be a great buy. Yeah, now it's come up a little bit for sure. So is it as good of a buy right here? Not as good as it was on this trend line, because it's up almost 10%. So now you've left yourself with the consolidation in between. So I really can't tell you where exactly I would buy this. I'm not a financial advisor, but I will say if it holds that trend line, that's going to be your deal, or the steal deal. But if it breaks that trend line, I can already show you where the issue is going to be. It shows it right here. If it breaks that trend line, you're going to end up meeting somewhere where the apex is, and that's right here. Which makes sense down there at 95 cents, because then it would fill out this exhaustion wick if it doesn't hold. It's all you have to look at this. On all of them. Yes, and that's the other thing with Axelar. They do have that. They already had a partnership with Stronghold. That was another reason I really liked them and Stronghold being partnered together. There's a lot with Axelar that doesn't meet the eye, and I believe that's for a reason. Not very many people talk, even if they do, they have no idea what they're talking about. Most people have no clue Axelar even exists. I only know about it because somebody in the audience some time ago put me onto it, and when I started doing my research, I said, holy smokes. And the lack of circulating supply, all the stuff that's... So, with Filecoin right now, here's what you're looking at. This is what I wanted to show the last part. Right here. Holds $1.31. You should confirm the move to $1.50. See, a lot of these are trying to confirm a further move up. Big Dog says Bitcoin going to 50K. 50K is an overreach. If we go to 50K, this whole thing might be over. What you really want is Bitcoin, if it's going to come down, retest the 2021 high at 69K and a back test for support. Because if you come down too far, it's going to invalidate the entire setup we made, and then we go into a very bearish 6 to 12 month period after it hits that price. So there are areas of no return that we don't want to go down that far. If we go down to 50K, you're looking at very, very big it's a very, very, very slippery slope when you get down past 69. If you get to maybe the slippery slope would be 69 to 50. You know, we can't disregard that thought. That thought. How long have I been on? 48 minutes, because I got to get off here in about 10 minutes or so, because I got to finish setting up for this party, which is only about it's around noon. Oh, 1 o'clock. But I really do like our mindset in this market. I love how we're looking for the opportunity. Algo, it's back testing, and if we can back test this move right now, we've got a long ways to go up still. We still got to come to the next resistance at 12.1, and then the 200-day doesn't even fly through until 13.3. It's the 4-hourlies that are resetting, the dailies pushing up, weeklies way oversold, monthly is almost towards oversold. The weeklies, though, is where the excitement comes in. Big Dog says, I'm bearish. I want more Linea and Axel. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I like your food for thought. This live, yeah, food for thought. Thank you for that, Mayor. Now saying another great live. I try my best. I try to look at action areas, and I try to find Stuff that I think in the future can really push us ahead of what everybody else sees. The contrarian view would say, do you want XLM or do you want Axelar with the same funds when you can buy 3 times as many with a 90% less circulating supply or max supply? I'm asking an honest question. If you had that honest to God choice, would you buy Axelar or XLM right now? Knowing that you have XRP and XDC. I'm just asking an honest question. Because I think XDC is superior to XLM in every single way. I really do. XLM's, I mean, that's still bearish in the monthly if it can't pull back. It's nice in the weekly. It could be a super bullish in the weekly because it back tested the 24 and now it's over the weekly 200 if it were to close. Oh, my yard now, there will come a time when I come on here and say I'm back in XYO, FYI. Tom, look at my previous comment, resent it. Thanks for the $2 donation, Lonzo. Axelar is the messenger on SHX, is the money packs. I'm a follow the money. Holy crap. Is that how deep it goes? The money pack? Ooh. I told you this audience, besides just looking at it for XRP and the stuff most people would know, we have a very deep understanding of what's going on and much more than just XRP. It's actually pretty scary how pretty minute we've made this. I'm just saying. And I know on crypto.com, if you have Axelar, you could send it there for storage if you actually have it for tier 1 exchange. To my knowledge, and look, the pricing to buy on crypto.com is 0091 plus, like criminals. I don't believe Kraken's gotten Axelar yet. So you might need to use a third-party exchange to buy it and then send it to where you want. Wait a minute. What the hell is this? WAXL. They have that on Kraken, and it's the same price. Is that wrapped Axelar? Is primary known as the ticker of wrapped Axelar and ERC20 token representing the native Axelar token off the X, allowing DApps to connect across this. Oh, so they do have Axelar. Ooh. Yeah, you can't talk. If they made those partnerships, there's the non-disclosure agreements that were signed. That is 100% fact that Big Dog said. There's been contracts signed, so you kind of got to stay quiet. Plus, they don't want to keep running their mouth because what ends up happening, the price goes up. So yeah, you can buy. You can buy. You can buy it on Kraken. Oh, the one about the climate bill. Sorry, I got so many comments coming in that I'm having a hard time keeping up. What the hell is the climate bill one? Is it deleting comments from me seeing? Unless I just skipped over it on accident. Oh, the Cannabis Podcast. Thanks for gifting 1 sub. A gifted membership. And Anthony Latino got it. And back in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. How generous was that? Thank you so much for that, Cannabis Podcast. In my yard now, thanks for the $9.90 super chat. And being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Unbelievably generous. Unbelievably generous. What the hell is this comment? I want to read it. So weird because I don't see a comment like that, and I scrolled up and down. Unless it's not showing me some comments, which would not be shocking. Me too, big dog. I've been on. So token that mirrors the native Axelar token on the Axelar blockchain. Facilitates communicates between different blockchains, enabling seamless DApp integration. Used for paying transaction fees, securing the network through staking and voting on platform governance. WAXL can be bridged to the Axelar network, providing liquidity and utility for the underlying Axelar token. Okay, so you can buy it through KRAKEN. That's interesting to me. That's a big game changer, actually. Oh, yeah. H-Bar, we've heard about them working with Swift as well. Definitely. H-Bar is actually working with LAES as well. And we've talked about this company for a while, but they're working with Seals Q H-Bar, so that's another big thing. Trying to set up for my in-laws' 50th anniversary dinner tonight. Oh, congratulations to your in-laws. What a blessing. I hope you really enjoy that. Yeah, I'm setting up two at my house because I have a party for Julie's brother whose birthday's on the same day as mine. He's 4 years older than me. Well, by default, I'll be celebrated as well. But we do a birthday get-together every year, so... Yeah, I do look at it. I look at the 5 and 15 minute, but it's not... I don't look at it for confirmation. But I know where it needs this. I know the back test for XDC. So yeah, I do look in the lower one so that I can see, you know, the back test. And right now we're trying to back test this 498 almost seamlessly. So yeah, we're trying to back test it. But yeah, I definitely look at it for confirmation or validation. Do I see this comment? Yes, Lonzo, I see that one. I see a few comments. Like, I read out the ones I seen. Lonzo, like, the ones that I can see when you told me to scroll up. I see, let's see. The one about Axelar is the messenger on SHX. Is the money packs. I see Axelar also has a partnership with Stronghold. I seen a couple other ones of your comments a little farther up as well that I read. I just don't see the one that you're talking about, which is weird. I like see every other one except that comment. And that could be my own fault. Maybe for some reason, I'm missing it. Yeah, the climate bill one. I see nothing about a climate bill. A comment about the climate bill, which is so weird. 0. So right now, to buy 100,000 tokens of Axelar... That's like, what, $8,000 roughly if it was 100,000 or 9,000. So 10,000 tokens. You're talking about $900 per 10,000 tokens. Do you know just a few short months ago it was like $5,000-$6,000 for 10,000 tokens for Axelar? AI might be blocking it. It's a pretty important, scary situation for investors. Absolutely, that's probably what's happening. Yep, XDC back over 5 cents. That's a good sign. If it stays over, it just needs to stay over. In reality, it could go all the way down to 4.8, but we really want to see it overtake that 5 cents. It's going to be super volatile here, though. But I am very intrigued about Axelar. And I'm also very intrigued to see if the market is imitating or mimicking what's going on here with Epic. Because Epic could be the first to overtake this scenario and get back on top of the town and start running. It really could. It could be outmaneuvering the market. Coinbase has Axelar. Good for anybody who has Coinbase. Excellent. That is good to know. What time is it? 10:52. Shit. All right, guys, I gotta go. It's not that I want to. I gotta get this cooking for the. You know, I just gotta continue to help for this. Well, this law says seizure of gold, silver, and crypto. I'm going to look more into it. Hopefully this message goes through. I have definitely heard about that possibility, and it makes me a bit nervous, especially for crypto because it's digital. Gold, silver, they're going to have to do it in a different way. But with digital, it's absolutely a lot easier to take back. But I'm definitely paying attention to that as well. Lonzo, keep feeding us that information. I am interested on ZBCN. ZBCN is one of the data tokens that is going to end up re-emerging here soon. As I walk out, I do have a setup for ZBAC that I'm paying very close attention to. Or ZBCN we have to put in to look at it. I just don't know which chart I had it on, to be honest. Oh, it's already starting to have a big reversal. I didn't even realize it because I haven't been looking at it. It's up 15% today. Nice. Yeah, so see, it could have put in an inverse pattern. Had no idea it filled out that liquidity wick from October 10th. See, I should have been paying attention. It hit it perfectly at 1.8 and bounced out. Damn. Because it filled it here and then it back tested here. Yeah. Could be they really could be starting something, but we'll see. Key takeaway for the core members. As much as we feel like we're getting slaughtered in the micro, still pay very close attention to the macro view on the weekly. The weekly time frame with the stochastic, especially when you start eking in the monthly, we need to keep a perspective of the macro despite the micro volatilities. Because the macro view, with these micro volatilities, you're trying to find your buy zones, especially in extreme oversold conditions in the weeklies and the monthlies with some like Axler that's extremely oversold in the monthly. We're trying to find opportunity here. So just because the micro looks overly just unbelievably bad, that weekly's oversold, which it could come back down and back test. Monthly significantly oversold, in the smaller areas. So, we have to pay attention to make sure. On page 1850. Oh, thank you. I need to take a screenshot of this because I can get into that climate bill and not have to scroll through now. Thank you so much for that. Lonzo, I just took a screenshot on here on my tablet that I'm reading the comments on so that I can remember that. That is huge information. Yeah, Senator Loomis is resigning. And yeah, XLM is definitely set up for a move here from a longer perspective. That for the core members, take a peek at the macro. The micro doesn't look great, but the macro perspective from the weekly and the monthly is setting up for a very, very bullish move. It's just where do the tokens take off and at what level? We are getting very, very close, and I encourage all of you to join Tom's Army, get into the Telegram, and continue your education with all of us. We're all the like-minded people. Axlar releases Core V135 for mainnet and testnet. They're going to be launching Agent Flux. There's just so much stuff. There's so much stuff going on here. Just pay attention. Find the spot that's right for you and consider everything we've